incredible ending, I think. You know, that last 4 weeks running through the playoffs.
We didn't lose a game for 12 games, did we?
Yeah, we felt invincible. I thought we felt invincible going through there like that. I thought it's destiny. It felt like destiny, didn't it? And you can't often say that in sport. You feel like preordained to go do that.
No, I was the same. I felt absolutely impenetrable.
Yeah.
The squad, you know, not me personally, but I think as a team we just had such a rhythm and such momentum. Actually, we added another tool, which was Moz.
Came
with their reputation.
None other than Adrian Morley. Charge led by Morley. He's got him. And this could be a glorious moment for Adrian Morley. It's a glorious moment for Morley.
So Adrian Morley, I played for the Bradford Bulls in 2005 for 6 games. So I was plying my trade over in Australia in the NRL, playing for the Sydney Roosters. It was the time Andrew Johns just signed a short-term deal with the Warrington Wolves. That created a lot of publicity, and then I got a phone call from Brian Noble, who was the Bradford coach and also the Great Britain coach, and he said, if you don't make the playoffs there at the Roosters, would you like to come and play for the Bradford Bulls? He said it'd be a good way to keep your match fitness up for the Great Britain tests.
Well, we were going well. And I didn't know if we had the juice to keep at 11, 12, to win the final. We were going to have to go on a pretty decent run. I think it ended up being 12 or 13 games, I can't remember. I didn't know if we had the juice, and the chairman said, I've got a chance of getting Adrian Morley. And Adrian Morley was the best prop in the NRL at that moment in time. What do you think about a 6 or 7 game stint for Morley at the end of the year? I went, oh yeah, okay, that's hard to think about, yes please.
So this is my old amateur club, Eccles. Well, it used to be called Eccles, now they're called the Salford City Roosters. So this is probably about 2 miles from the Willows, you know, where Salford used to play. That's where I grew up. And again, from there it's probably another couple of miles, and then you're at Old Trafford. You know, I wanted to play for United when I was a kid, but then when I got into rugby league, it was I wanted to sign pro as a rugby league player. And then when the grand final come into it, you know, that was obviously another chance to play in a final, and at the hallowed turf of Old Trafford.
You know, I remember speaking out. I think I went on Boots and All, and I said something about Adrian's come across, but somebody's going to have to miss out who's been playing all season.
I did feel like a bit of a blowing, really. You know, coming in at that stage of the season when all the current Bulls had sweat and toiled all year, and I just come at the end. It was awkward. It was still something that I was willing to do. It's still something the club was willing to do. So it was just business, really.
Moz had come in. That was a big lift for us, you know, because Leeds were talking to him, but he decided to come to us. You know, signing one of the best forwards in the world.
I never really thought about it at the time, but he was an ex-Leeds icon as well. And so we're signing a Leeds icon. We didn't know we were going to play in Leeds in the grand final then. But you know, it created another story in what was a wonderful season.
Moz was immense when he came over. He was amazing. I think his first game, he'd probably say he still had a little bit of jet lag.
Flew into the UK on the Thursday. I actually went watching Andrew Johns' first game for Warrington against Leeds, and I went to the Halliwell Jones Stadium. And he actually had a fantastic game, got man of the match, and then that put a bit of pressure on me, really. You know, so I had to perform on Sunday. My game on Sunday against Huddersfield certainly wasn't as good as Andrew Johns', and I was come off the bench against Huddersfield, but against Saints I started, and I felt I played a lot better against the Saints, and I was pleased with my performance, and we got the win there.
Oh, big Leslie Vainicolo! Oh, they couldn't stop him. They simply could not stop the big man.
I knew, as they have been all Super League, Saints were one of the favourites to get to Old Trafford and ultimately win it. But we did a job on them that day, and I think that gave me confidence and the team confidence that they can beat the best and go on to win it.
Leon Price has done St Helens up the middle, and Leon Price will make sure that Bradford go into the playoffs in 3rd place. A magnificent try from Leon Price.
And then for me, my memories is of rolling into the playoffs. I thought Steve McNamara was great in there being an assistant coach, really got the forwards together. We had like a theme. We were just going to run harder than any other team for the last 6 weeks of the season.
Jamie Peacock going on his own. Peacock all the way. Wonderful try from the Bradford skipper. Jamie Peacock. There it is. Full-time siren. Bradford progress 44-22 winners.
Well, I don't think we'd have been beat by anybody that day. It was everyone's last game at Odsal. It was everyone's farewell at Odsal, and yeah, if you could bottle that changing room up before a game, you'd make a few quid on them emotions in sport, that's for sure.
I remember it was Stephen Kearney's last ever game in rugby league, and he was a big hero of mine growing up, so it was great to play in his last game.
Played it to Henderson. Here is Fielding, and Fielding again was caught, and they didn't like it.
I'm not surprised. That's the third time he's gone for him. Well, I don't know.
Hit him 3 times with a high tackle.
Well, his third time lucky.
He's going. He's off. Stephen Kearney is sent off. Well, that's a huge decision from Steve Ganson. And that probably, although it's very early in the piece, that probably spells the end of Hull.
Everybody else's future had been decided and it was out there in the open, but because I was moving to like the biggest rivals, there was like a picture of me with my head with a noose on it. Someone had done that, right? And I managed to score a try, right? So there must have been 14,000 people in here. And I'd been getting booed before. So I scored a try, so they can't boo me. But everybody refused to clap, and I think the only person I could hear clapping was my dad. Like one person clapping in there. So I knew it was going to be a bit, but it made me laugh actually.
The captain's knock again from Peacock. And that will do. Hull's agony is over. Bradford march on. A clinical destruction of Hull. And the dream lives on of a 5th successive grand final.
The big game that stood out for me was going to Saints away, because Saints were amassing a team that would dominate, wouldn't they, the next season, 2006. I reckon probably the best team that's been in Super League, that Saints 2006 season. But they played Wigan the week before, and Terry Newton went on the rampage and he broke Sean Long's cheekbone. I think he knocked Lee Gilmore out, and I think he took one other player out in that game. So I remember going into this game with Saints away thinking this is the big one. You know, if we win this, I think we'll win the competition.
Wide they come, and wide again, and they're in the corner, Bradford, and that's Shontaine Harpy.
To get there, you've got to knock the best sides off. Again, just that momentum, just that feeling of momentum. I genuinely didn't think we could get beaten that.
Now Johnson, he's through it, Johnson, and Johnson gets the second try for Bradford.
And winning that one, thinking, well, we can do this. We can get to the grand final and win this. You know, what a season that would be from where we've been at.
The last 12 weeks we've been rolling on with it, and as character showed through then, it's a big ask to come from behind its seats, and we've managed to do that. We've just one more to go now. You know, we've managed to get ourselves to the grand final. But it's no good unless we get there and win, and that's what we're aiming to do now.
Picking the team then becomes a hard thing, because a lot of people, bringing Adrian Morley meant that Andy Lynch, and he had a great start season for us. I thought it was a brilliant signing for us, and probably was the most unlucky, but people like Rob Parker, he'd been part of the Bulls story.
I ended up running water that game. I asked, could I do it? You know, because I wanted to be part of it. I think that shows you everything of what that club is about. You know, I'm not playing, okay, well, how can I help? What can I do?
I think sometimes when you're in sport and it's emotionally intense, you can feel an emotion, you can see it everywhere, and you could see, for me anyway, on that bus, everyone just, that final step was, you know, after all we've been through, we're winning this. There's no way today that Leeds, and I walked off that bus and I just thought, there's no chance of Leeds winning this. Absolutely zero chance of Leeds winning this game after what we've been through as a group.
Leeds against Bradford, the biggest rugby match of the Northern Hemisphere, and who will win?
Playing front row, captain of the team, you want to get down there first off a kick-off and make an impression, you know, so I've flown down there for the grand final. I think I tackled one person, tackled another, then the third person, I got kneed straight in the bollocks, right? I got kneed in the bollocks. I just got, but I had to go to hospital afterwards, you know, that's how bad a kind of contact it was. But then as I'm running back in the line, like Steve Matt's come on and gone, are you all right? And I said, well, I'm all right, but I've been needing the bollocks, mate. You know?
Got the usual JP abrupt answer. There was no messing about with it. More they told me to get back in my seat and get back on the sidelines.
This is Paul Deacon again, and now it's Morley. Oh no, Barry McDermott high on Adrian Morley.
He did make a comment in the press, you know, leading up, I'm going to do Morley, but you say things in jest, but he actually did. He clocked me around the head, and I was actually sparked on the floor, and Justin Harris, who's good mates with Barry as well as I am, he said, "Yo, Moz, you're going to get Barry into trouble." I'm thinking, I'm not lying down on purpose trying to milk a penalty. I was actually seeing stars.
It takes a lot to put this guy to the ground.
Leon was one of those players who just had the ability to step up in a big game and deliver a big game performance, and I thought that he scored an outstanding try in that game.
Oh, I've watched it back enough times, haven't I? I've showed it to my kids about 1,000 times. This is what I used to be able to do.
Back to Deacon. Deacon then long to Leon Price. Oh, it's opened up for Leon Price. It has opened up for Price, and Leon Price scores for Bradford.
And then when I scored, I was like, man, it's awesome scoring a try in your last game for your hometown club in a grand final, man. Don't get any better than that. And Les and Shonny just jumping on there, and it's like, this is like awesome. This is what I want to do more often. Amazing.
Leslie will not be stopped.
Oh, the amount of messages that me and Deeks got on the field, which was just get the ball to Leslie.
And then Big Les scored what Big Les does. He beats 10 people before he has to put the ball down as Les. He goes back and beats another one if he can and pushes them over.
As soon as this ball goes dead, and there it is.
Now it's over. It's all over. And it ends empty for Leeds and Tony Smith. But it ends in the grandest manner for Brian Noble.
Even though the scoreline was close, I didn't feel like it was a close game. I didn't feel, not at any point in that back into that season, that I think we were going to lose. You know, my head was more getting around how I was going to leave this Super League winning year to go to Huddersfield. And it was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking because I was leaving this band of brothers. But not only that, as an 18-year-old kid that come over here and leaving as a 30-year-old, I'd grown up with loads of those on the terraces. A lot of the academy players like JP and Leon and Gradders, Rob Parker, and all these players that we grew up, come out of the academy. I grew up with them as well. I may have been like 4 or 5 years older than them, but I grew up with them, and we were all dispersing. It was hard.
Remember the final whistle? I can remember having a panic attack at the end of the game. I couldn't breathe to get oxygen. So there was a lot of emotion. Obviously, you know, I'd had 7 fantastic seasons at the club, and to sign off like we did was pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, really emotional after the game. I think like at 24, 25, I never thought I'd be leaving the club so early. No, I was pretty sad because I'd supported the team and grown up on the terraces and what have you, but I felt a bit disappointed within myself because I never felt as though I reached my full potential playing here. And I always thought that I maybe would do that.
A touching moment was when we were on the crowd when we did that sort of civic reception in the stadium, and you come up and picked me up and put me on your shoulder while you were talking on the microphone.
Yeah. It's a big deal, wasn't it, Rob? I mean, I remember being a fan and you being a big part of the Bull Mania, and you were like a top at tree. So for your play, at the time the crowd didn't know you were leaving, and I did. And I just thought, someone needs to be said here, and you know.
Yeah, I remember that.
I wanted
but
to.
You couldn't
I
say
couldn't
that.
say it publicly, but I wanted you to have a little bit of a moment because you deserved it for being like top at tree at this club for a long while.
In public, didn't you?
Yeah. So that were hard for me because I always think that people deserve to have a little bit of a send off, and it were hard to not have the proper send off. You know, I found that pretty hard.
You know, they were special times and a special group of people.
What a fabulous end to an incredible story.